It is my honor to introduce this evening's keynote speaker, Bill Dawson, class of 1975. Mr. Dawson is one of the law school's most distinguished graduates. He's also a double Red Raider, having earned his BBA here at Texas Tech as well. Currently a partner in the Dallas office of the national law firm of Gibson, Dunn Crutcher, he's a recognized leader in the legal profession. Among his many accomplishments, he is a fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers and of the International Academy of Trial Lawyers. He's an active member of the American Law Institute and a member of the Board of Trustees for the Center of American and International Law. He is routinely listed among the who's who and the best of in the legal categories, most recently being named as Lawyer for the Year for Securities and Capital Markets in Dallas for 2014. His various accomplishments in the legal profession led the law school to name him as the 2012 Distinguished Alumnus. Please join me in welcoming back to Texas Tech Law, Bill Dawson.
Thank you, Dean Dickerson, for the opportunity to address these new law school graduates. And thank you, graduates, and your family and friends for giving me just a little bit of your time. I'm going to use my time to tell you a story. It's a true story. It's a story about a young man who, in his life, shared many of our own experiences, you and me, and who had a few experiences I'm sure glad I missed. Had you been here in Lubbock in 1970 on the campus of Texas Tech like I was, you too might have crossed paths with this young man. He was born in Oklahoma in 1950 and he was raised in poverty. I asked him one time, just how poor were you? And he said, well, I was from a large and largely dysfunctional family. You've heard people say that if they didn't work, they didn't eat. But for me, oftentimes, it was if you didn't work and you didn't get paid that day, you didn't eat. When I finished my cereal at breakfast, I didn't take my bowl over to the sink and rinse it out. I left it right there on the kitchen table so my sisters could have milk with their cereal too. When I walked to school on those cold and blustery mornings in Oklahoma, I wore every shirt I owned because I didn't have a coat. Like you and me, this young man attended Texas Tech. He paid his own way by running a health club out on Avenue Q. He ultimately got a bachelor's degree from Midwestern State in Wichita Falls, where he met and married his soulmate and wife of 37 years. They moved to Denton, where he went to North Texas State, and like you and me, he got a doctorate degree, not a JD, but a PhD in psychology. And when he got his diploma and his license to practice, he faced an uncertain future, just as you do. But he didn't play the game of life with sweaty palms. He didn't go out and look for a job. He didn't use his degree and his license to get a salary, a bonus, or a W-2. And from that day to this, has never gotten a salary, a bonus, or a W-2. Rather than getting paid a salary, he started out paying salaries to others. Fairly soon, he started putting on seminars for people hungry for advice on such things as how to be successful or how to deal with family problems. Through those seminars, he touched many lives and helped many people. And then while doing that, he started helping lawyers like me understand how their clients' cases could be told to judges and to juries in a way they could understand. Teaching these lawyers to make complicated things understandable by the average person, like Aunt Betty in Idaho, as he was fond of saying. Soon, he became the most sought-after jury consultant in the country, which is why when she was sued in Amarillo, Oprah Winfrey came knocking on his door. Today, he touches the lives of millions of people through his own TV show and through his best-selling books, one of which he has autographed for each of you graduates. Were you just lucky? I once asked him. You bet he was. You bet I was, he said. First and foremost, we are all lucky to live in a free society where individuals have the right to choose their own path, free to make choices that have real consequences. He made choices that set him on a path to success, and so can you. He set out to help real people and to do it his way, and so can you. He set out not to get a job, but to do a job, and so can you. Lucky? You bet. But ultimately, we all make our own luck. Once when I was picking a jury in state court in Decatur, Texas, he slipped me a note suggesting that I ask the jury panel what their first thought was when they came down with a cold. Seemed an odd question to ask a jury, but he was the pro, so I asked it. There were two kinds of responses, and I'll bet if I asked this group that same question, we would get those same two kinds of responses. One response was, it was just my time to get a cold. And the other response was, I must have brought it on myself by not taking care of myself properly. When the two of us were out in the hallway, striking jurors from the list after voir dire was completed, he suggested that I strike all of those who had answered that they felt it was just their turn to get a cold, and to keep only those who took personal responsibility for having gotten a cold. There are two kinds of people, he said. Those with a strong internal locus of control, who believe they are in control of their own destiny and believe the choices they make control what happens to them in life. And then there are those who have a strong external locus of control. They believe that stuff just happens to them. They are not responsible for their own fate. Someone else or something else is responsible. Forces outside their control are the cause of their lot in life. You want the former and not the latter on your jury, he said. And so I struck on that basis, and I won my case. And so it is in life. Be the former, not the latter. Take charge of your own life, own your choices, accept responsibility from your life, have a strong internal locus of control. I leave you with three additional thoughts. The first is that life rewards action. It's okay to dream, but dreams do not get you where you want to go. For that, you must have real goals. There is a difference between dreams and goals. Goals come with a timeline. As he would say, someday is not a day of the week. A goal has a deadline in it. A goal must be specific. You have to be able to write it down. Say what it is you want. Articulate it. Or as he would say, if you can't name it, you can't claim it. Define it, describe it, feel it, then go get it. Second, figure out what kind of currency is important to you and go for that currency above all else. For some people, the only currency that counts is money, and that's okay. But there are other forms of currency: psychological currency, spiritual currency, family currency. All of those currencies are out there for you. Figure out which of those currencies you want most. But as my mother, who is sitting here, raise your hand, mother, as my mother, who is sitting here tonight, would say, always remember that no matter which currency drives you to succeed, no one is truly successful who is not successful at home. Finally, don't let small setbacks set you back. Once, when I was trying a lawsuit, I was saying to my friend, this jury consultant, that I had made several mistakes that day in court, making a few objections I should not have made, and then just drawing attention to the bad evidence, letting in some evidence I should have kept out, not asking certain questions the right way. I was commiserating with him, and I was down on myself. He listened, and then he said something that has stuck with me ever since. Bill, he said, those little mistakes are not the ones that count. In every lawsuit, you get one, and if you're really lucky, two opportunities to drive the stake through your opponent's heart and win your case. The only mistake that counts is missing the opportunity to do that, lacking the insight to recognize the moment when it presents itself, or lacking the courage to capitalize on it when it does. If you dwell on the little things, you will miss the only thing that counts. And so it is with life. You get only so many opportunities to change the trajectory of your life. These defining moments are key, and they are few. You can look back even now and think of the one or two defining moments that have brought you here to this place and to this achievement. Be vigilant in watching for those defining moments yet to come. You must be ready, or you will miss them. And you must have the courage to seize those moments, to make the right decision at that time, and to act decisively. Doing that makes all the difference. My wish for you is that when you leave this place, you use your education, your JD degree, your license to practice law, and your goals to go after the currency that you most want, that you are constantly vigilant in watching for those few defining moments that will come in your life, and that you have the courage to seize them and to act on them. Congratulations to each of you, and may God bless you all.